Scams by people pretending they're from the IRS are as old as the agency itself. Our next honorees work around the clock to identify the latest variation, help ensure citizens don't become victims, and bring the perpetrators to justice, no matter where in the world they might be. Please welcome back to the stage OMB Director Mick Mulvaney to tell us more.
Starting the fall of 2013 and up through last year, nearly 2 million people received threatening phone calls claiming they were owed back taxes, with the callers threatening arrest if the victims didn't pay up immediately. About 10,000 people were bilked out of $54 million. It was the biggest IRS impersonation scam in history. Tim Camus and his team at the Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration were alerted to the scam when a trickle of complaints from taxpayers turned into a deluge. Tim quickly organized with fellow law enforcement agencies to strategize how to halt this ever-changing scam. In this new iteration, the swindler's tactic was to convince victims to settle their supposed debt using prepaid debit or gift cards. Tim and his team worked with phone companies to deactivate impersonators' numbers, deployed an auto dialer to call the scammers back to tie up their phone lines, and led a broad public service campaign to warn citizens about the scheme. And I appreciate that. So, thanks to the team's work, 61 people were indicted last year, including 32 con artists at 5 call centers in India. After the operations mastermind was arrested and later indicted, reports of new calls plummeted by more than 90%. Here's a look at what this team's work and commitment to help protect others was able to accomplish.
I was drawn to public service because I wanted to help people and make a difference. There's always been something deep inside of me where I believed that helping people or being involved in the community was really an important thing to do. The Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration is a relatively small agency. 800 people in the agency, 400 people in the law enforcement component. Our mission is to protect the $3.3 trillion that goes through the Internal Revenue Service each year. The scam is very simple, and it's an age-old scam. And it's where somebody calls you out of the blue, claims to be the federal government, any agency in the government, but in this case, the Internal Revenue Service that everybody fears, tells you that you owe tax, and then immediately and very aggressively demands that either you pay that right now or you're going to go to jail. That's the scam. Staying one step ahead of the criminals is a challenge for all law enforcement, but for us in particular. I would like my legacy to be remembered and known as somebody that cared deeply about protecting innocent Americans. Everybody that works in my agency has that spirit in them, and we feed off of each other. So for us, every day we come to work, it's a new adventure.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the winners of the 2017 Homeland Security and Law Enforcement Medal, Timothy Camus and the IRS Impersonation Scam Team.
Big problem, big team, right? Thank you, Director Mulvaney. On behalf of our team, I want to thank the Partnership for Public Service and all the sponsors who make this award and this evening possible. What a great evening. How about a round of applause for the sponsors and the partnership? To date, the IRS impersonation scam has touched over 2 million Americans to the tune of about $60 million. Have any of you received a call? Yes, you have. And it's probably just the tip of the iceberg. Today's criminals are ruthless, and they've become very creative in their use of technology. to commit fraud on our most vulnerable citizens on a massive scale. So, we had to be just as creative and tenacious in fighting them. We're honored that our work on this issue has helped to slow the scam and to alert the public in order to keep the innocent from being stolen, their money stolen, even their life savings on many of the elderly. Our team, made up of Treasury Inspector General for Tax Administration special agents, analysts, and our Office of Communications staff, work closely with our partners in law enforcement, the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Communications Commission, the Department of Justice, Homeland Security Investigations, DHS Office of Inspector General, the Social Security Administration Office of Inspector General, the IRS, and many other state and local law enforcement agencies, as well as we needed the media to continue to get the word out and warn people not to become a victim in the first place. Without this collaboration, we would not have seen any success at all, and tens of thousands or even millions more victims would have fallen prey to this scam. Here with me on the stage tonight, I'd like to introduce Jeff Long, Assistant Inspector General for Investigations. He ran the callback program that jammed the scammers' phone lines. Brilliant idea. We partnered with the Federal Trade Commission. Betsy Broder represents the Federal Trade Commission. James Jackson, Assistant Inspector General for Investigations at TIGTA, managed the headquarters operation and the support, and he is really the brains behind our cyber efforts to fight these criminals. Karen Kroschauer is our Office of Communications. Karen arranged for over 100 media interviews to help get the word out to warn the elderly in particular. If the scammer calls you, just hang up the phone and do not become a victim. Randy Silvas is an Assistant Inspector General for Investigations, and Randy managed our field agents, who to date have arrested over 90 individuals related to this scam. And last but not least, I'm honored to bring one of our great special agents who works around the clock to chase these criminals and keep them on the run so they can't scam our vulnerable citizens. Jeff Stotko. We are very honored, and we thank you again for this amazing honor and this amazing evening. Thank you very much.